Deep in the mountains of Appalachia, the wilderness was vast, wild, and untamed. No roads, no way to penetrate its ridges and high peaks. Our forefathers had to carve their way in. They only had animal trails and old forgotten footpaths carved out by the natives. When it come to creeks and rivers, all they could do is ride horses across, swim, or ride the wagons. There was no bridges around. They could cut down trees and build a bridge-like structure just to get across some places. Infrastructure was not a word back then. We often take for granted our infrastructure and the state maintain highways. Today, a 15-minute commute to work would take a week back then. Today's story takes us down to South Alabama to Monroe County. There was two towns cut off from each other by the Little Escambia River. To move goods across from one place to another, you would have to cross the creek by boat, horseback, or wagon, however you could. This would take forever, and you would get soaked, and your goods would be wet. This was no good. One wealthy man set out to fix this problem. What would he do, and how would this start what became known as the Bridge Wars? Appalachia, the mountains, are like no other. From its rigid terrain, beautiful wildlife, to the people that live their lives here, to the strange, unexplained stories that folks share. Join me while I share this amazing place, one story at a time. John Peeples was a man of money and loved to make it. He heard the folks complaining about having a hard time crossing the Little Escambia River, trying to get to the other towns. He come up with a plan and set to work. What would he do? Well, build a bridge, of course. He and his men went to work, cutting timber, hewing logs, and building that bridge. The day came for it to open, but this bridge was no free-use bridge. No, sir. John Peeples seen a way to make a killing, so he charged a toll for each person to use the bridge. Like he thought, he indeed made money, more than he wanted. This went on for a few years, but then a newcomer came to town named John Hollinger. He was a businessman himself, and he heard folks complaining about having to pay to cross the bridge, and he saw others get turned away because they didn't have 2 pennies to rub together, much less pay to cross a bridge. John wanted to do something about this. He just couldn't stand by while people got rich. So he went to the bridge and started an argument with Peoples about how sorry he was for getting rich off the poor people, charging them to use that bridge. A bridge ought not be owned by one man rather than everyone, and it should be used for its benefits, not for making riches. They yelled back and forth all the time. Hollinger needed to put a stop to this money racket, but how could he do it? He pondered on it forever. Then I'd like to think his wife was mighty tired of hearing about this darn toll bridge, and she told John, "Why don't you just build a bridge next to People's toll bridge and not charge a toll?" However the idea came about, he did just that. John Hollinger and his men started building a bridge free to the public use. This set old Peoples on fire, and he yelled, "While you're messing with my business, you can't build this bridge." As much as he hated it, there was nothing Peoples could do. When it was complete, John Hollinger opened the bridge. Virtually overnight, Peoples was shut down. No one ever used his bridge again. I bet this was devastating to Peoples, but the towns flourished with the new free access to each town thanks to the free use bridge. The arguments that John Hollinger and John Peoples got into, and John Hollinger building a bridge to stop John Peoples for exploiting the townsfolks, became known as the Bridge Wars. To this day, there is a road named Hollinger Road. The bridges eventually connected the old Federal Road on the old stagecoach section. The Bridge Wars was a war of wits and wealth alone. Thankfully, no blood was shed during this war. I wonder, who was right in this story? Was John Peoples right for charging money for people to cross the bridge to recoup his cost of the bridge itself? Or was John Hollinger right for building a bridge for all to use without charging a dime? You let me know down in the comments below. Well, folks, I want to thank you for sitting and listening to the tale of the Bridge Wars. I appreciate you listening. I love you to pieces, and I'll see you next time.